Oh, hey, welcome back to the Mission Empowered podcast with me, your host, Emily. And I'm so excited to do this episode because I freaking love talking about myself. No, I'm really joking. I'm really joking. I just get really excited doing podcasts like this because I feel like there's not a huge amount of prep I need to do for it. Like, I know it probably doesn't sound like it, gals, but I put a lot of prep into my podcasts and I do research and I have notes and I'm like things I want to cover. Whereas things like this is like second nature for me to talk about. So I get excited to talk about it. Right. So this week's episode is all about my second fat loss phase. Okay. So for those that are new who may have just stumbled, I did just introduce myself. So I'm Emily. I had a baby nearly a year ago. What the actual fuck, by the way. I cannot believe Eliza is going to be one in October. Wild. But anyway, so I had a baby last October by emergency C-section, and I basically strategized out my getting my body back and like not bouncing back, but getting my body back to a place where I'm happy and I'm confident in it. Because I was always, not always, that's a story for another podcast, but for the last 5 years, I've been really like body confident, happy with my body. When I got pregnant, as with pregnancy, I put a lot of fat on, lost a little bit of muscle, fully expected it. Being a pre and postnatal qualified coach, like I wasn't like horrified of like what was happening to my body. Like I sort of expected, like your body will react how it's going to react when you're pregnant. Anyway, by the by, so when I had emergency C-section in October, I always knew I was going to give myself time from October till the January to just recover, find out what being a mum looks like for me. And also Christmas is my favorite time of year. I was like, I am just spent 9 months of like food aversions, not being able to eat, not being able to have alcohol, not being able to eat cheese. Like I am going to enjoy this time. And then January, I really got my shit together and I started my first fat loss phase, which ran from January till June, June, where I booked a photo shoot in for myself. And I was like, right, let's see what we can do in this time. I did really well. I lost around, I think it was about 2 stone, but by the by from the scales, like I got into a shape that I was really proud of and got some muscle back. And yeah, just felt really good. Wasn't like this is the end goal for me and now I'm happy and now I'll stop. I always knew or assumed I would have to do maybe 2 or 3 fat loss phases. I think I'll be good with 2 if I'm being honest. So I finished my fat loss phase in May, June, went on holiday, signed up with a new coach, and we went through like a maintenance / build phase. So this is why I wanted to do this podcast. I just wanted to explain. So when you are building muscle, you need to spend time away from dieting, having higher calories to build muscle, but having higher calories to have the energy to build muscle. Okay. You can't be building muscle if you're in a deficit because one, you're not giving your body enough fuel to build that lean muscle, but two, you're going to feel like shit. So you're not going to be pushing as hard as you need to in the gym to build muscle. So I wanted to spend time away from fat loss because I was like, right, I need to put some muscle back on. Like I want to be that muscle mummy again. Because like I said, I did lose a little bit of muscle when I was pregnant. And as much as a bit came back when I was back training, it wasn't as much as I wanted. So anyway, long story short, turns out I build muscle really quickly and I actually have put on a lot of muscle in a very short amount of time. I think a lot of it is possibly from muscle memory of what I had as well before. But I was just like at a place where I was like, actually, I don't need to be pushing higher calories and more muscle because I'm quite happy with the amount of muscle that I've got at the moment. And I'm probably about 7 to 10 pounds away from, well, I'm going to talk about the time, but I'm probably about 7 to 10 pounds away from like when I was really happy, like with my body fat percentage. That's probably where I am at the moment, about 7 to 10 pounds away from that. And so I said to my coach, I think I'm going to do another fat loss phase like before the end of the year. So we strategized it, but like I said, I spent June, July, or like May, end of May, so end of May, June, July, August, so like nearly 4 months away from dieting, higher calories, like I'm talking like over 2,000 calories, having meals out, having flexibility with food. Some days weren't tracked. Like I really just had that time away from dieting and being like super, super food focused, because I know that when I'm dieting, you do have to be, if you do have to be food focused, and you do have to be on it if you want to get quick results. Which, why wouldn't you want to get quick results? Like, you want to get them as fast as you possibly can, right? So this leads, oh, there was definitely something else I was just going to talk about then. Oh, yes, it was. So when I said about like 7 to 10 pounds, being postpartum, my fat distribution, don't know if anyone else has experienced this, is slightly different as well. I have now got a little bit of extra belly fat around my bottom, like where my C-section scar is. I guess people would call it mum tum or mum pooch or whatever. I don't have the hangover. I just have extra fat around there. It's weird. Anyway, because it wasn't there before. It's not weird, sorry. It's just what is weird for me because it wasn't there before. And so basically in this fat loss phase, I'm going to be like, I just want to see if I can get rid of it. But here's the thing, if I can't, I'm genuinely not that arse. Like, if that is there and that's where my body fat distribution is a bit heavier, I will not kill myself to get rid of it. Like, I had a baby from there. Like, it's a C-section scar. Like, oh my God, like, that is so amazing. And, what I'm doing in the gym now is amazing. Anyway, so I'm not like hyper fixated on it. I'm just like, I wonder if it'll come off there, because that would be nice. And if it doesn't and it comes off from other places, then hey ho, that is what my freaking body is doing now. And I still love her and I'm very proud of her. But let's just see. So yeah, they're my reasons of wanting to do this fat loss phase. And I don't know if I've just said this, I booked a photo shoot. So the photo shoot was like the beginning of November, which will officially be like 1 whole year. Well, it'll be a bit longer, but like 2 weeks longer. 1 whole year of my postpartum. And that was always my goal, is to give myself a year to not just achieve physical transformation, but my goals this year, which again, so proud of, was to be able to do, where are we? So run a 10K, which I did in April, which is wild. To be back doing 5 strict pull-ups, which now I can do 6.5, buzzing. And to do 10 body weight dips, which now I can do 15 or 16, I can't even remember. 15, I think it was. Like, they were like my performance goals this year, so I'm fully on the way. And then, like, yeah, just I feel happy and healthy. What else did I put? No, that was my thing, is to feel happy and healthy. So I suppose I've done that then. But yeah, so I'm excited to go into this phase, because again, being a coach and having done fat loss phases before, trust me when I say, the more fat loss phases you do, the easier fat loss becomes, because the more you learn at each phase. So if you are a person and you are just starting a diet, maybe you're one of my clients, right? Maybe you are, I don't know, working with another coach, and this is the very first time that you are going to diet correctly, not Slim and World, not fucking Weight Watchers, not juice cleanse. Like, you are actually dieting properly with a time frame, with someone supporting you. But this is the first time you're doing it. Like, you are probably going to need to do more than one fat loss phase, okay? Because when we talk about fat loss phases, I normally don't put my clients in a fat loss phase for longer than 16 weeks, because normally life happens in that anyway. We have a weekend away, we have a holiday in there, something happens where we tend to have like a diet break anyway. But it's because when we get to the end of that, like the 16 weeks, things have adapted, things have slowed down. Mentally, you need to break from dieting. And, even if it's like a week or 2 weeks, but then you do a second fat loss phase, like, we need to have a break. And that's why it's important to establish timeframes when it comes to fat loss. Not only does it give you an external time goal of, holy shit, I've only got this amount of time, I best pull my finger out because that's what I'm working towards. But also, that it's not just an ongoing thing if you have a bigger goal. So I've just said I'm going to lose 7 to 10 pounds, hopefully. But if you are someone who has got 3-4 stone to lose, and you just say, I'm starting a diet, it can be so deflating to feel like, oh my God, I've got to be on this diet every single day of my life for the next fucking year. Like, of course you're going to give up. Of course you're going to be demotivated. Whereas if you break that down, which is exactly what I do with my clients, into sections and phases, and be like, look, in 10 weeks we want to be a stone down, then we're going to have a little break, and then we're going to do it again. Like, it becomes so much more clearer and doable with that time frame. So This podcast is meant to be about me, and I'm making it about other things. But anyway, hopefully I want to do it so it's relatable to you as well. But that's why I've established this time frame. So I have got 10 weeks till this photo shoot. So like I said, £7 to £10 is giving me that flexibility that we only really ever want to be losing £1 a week. And I know you're probably thinking, if you've never done dieting before, oh, that's not a lot. Well, it is, isn't it? Because in 10 weeks, if I'm £10 down, that's a lot. Whereas what a lot of people do is go, but I want to lose £5 in week one. And then you'll be so exhausted from whatever, or have no energy from what you've done in that week. Guess what you're losing in week two? Fuck all. Because you won't have energy to move it, to lose anything. And that's why people will lose £7 in 2 weeks, and then they'll put £3 back on, and then they'll put a pound back on, and then they'll lose another £4. And it's so up and down. Whereas if you set the expectation of just saying, right, I'm going to lose consistently £1 a week, it adds up and it's doable and it's sustainable. So yes, £7 to £10 is my goal. 10 weeks is the time frame. Oh, I can't wait to revisit this podcast in 10 weeks and be like, I did it. Hopefully. So today, God, I've just really waffled on for 10 minutes, haven't I? I'm just going to go through some of the things that I am going to put in place that are going to support my fat loss phase and hopefully will support yours. So the first thing I have just touched on this, so is the why. Like, why do you want to do this dieting phase? Mine was quite easy. I've given myself 12 months to get in shape post-baby. Let's see what that looks like. And I've booked a photo shoot to commemorate. Is that when someone dies? No. To solidify, celebrate, whatever you want to call it. I've booked that photo shoot to do that. So that is my why. And like I said, for me being a coach, and I find dieting like fun and exciting because I like watching my body change. So yeah, I know, a bit weird. But figuring out your why is the most important thing. Like, why you're doing it, why you're starting this dieting phase. The next thing is, I've just touched on, is your time frame. What time frame are you giving yourself? You can't just be like, I'm starting a diet until when? I don't know. And you can't do the time frame on an external, when I've lost a stone, that's when I'll be your time frame. It doesn't work like that, okay? Give yourself an end point of when you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to really knuckle down for X amount of time, and then I'll take a little break. The next thing is, on my list of ultimate fat loss hacks, be organized, right? So being organized means you are going to look at your time frame and also see in that time frame, what have you got on that could potentially impact your results, okay? So I know in my time frame, there are 2 things that could potentially impact my results, but because I'm aware of them, I can plan for them. One is my husband's birthday, Ol's birthday, and one is Eliza's birthday. She said she wanted to do a bottomless brunch. I've told her I'm on a diet, so I probably won't do that for it. But anyway, that's that shit joke. You can tell me. But yeah, so I've got 2 birthday occasions, which I know are going to be like family orientated, maybe a bit of a meal thrown in there, maybe a bit of birthday cake, but because I'm aware of them, I can plan them in. Okay, so that is the biggest thing, is just being organized and looking ahead. There's no point telling yourself you're going to lock in for 10 weeks and you've got a 2-week all-inclusive holiday in the middle of it. Okay, I mean, you can, because you can still make progress, but if you know you're not going to be goal aligned on that holiday, like there's no point, right? Or you can look at your 10 weeks and be like, right, well, fuck, I've got a social occasion every single weekend. You can then look at them social occasions and be like, but I can be goal aligned for that one. That one I want to go a little bit loose on, but the next 3 after that, I can be goal aligned. So you're being organized, okay? You've then got to be organized with your food, obviously. Well, I say obviously, people, being organized with your food. My best tips are getting your calories, getting your protein, getting your macros, your carbs and your fat, okay? Making a meal plan that is going to be like your day-to-day meal plan. So for me, that is the same breakfast and the same lunch. My evening meals will all consist of roughly the same amount of calories, but the ingredients might change. Pasta might become potatoes might become rice, that's the extent of it. And then I will know how much protein I might hit in. So the protein I use is chicken, white fish, tuna, low fat mince. What else do we have thrown in there? Is that it? Is that it from protein? I think that's it. But I will know how much protein, how many calories I've got to put into that evening meal. But I do not have to think about my breakfast or my lunch because it will be the same. That is so God's honest truth. Like, and you know what even is worse, which you'll probably think at, is that I still eat the same breakfast when I'm not in fat loss. I just eat more of it. And the same lunch as well. That's because I think that's because I'm quite health driven though. So I know my breakfast is high in protein, high in fiber, and it's got micronutrients in fruit, like the berries that I have in there, and I change the fruit in my shake. So I know that. And I know that my lunch is very health focused because it's high in fiber, high in vegetables, and it's got protein in there. So things that I do when I'm not in fat loss is just have a bit more of it, or I'll pair it with a few more fats or a few more carbs. But yeah, so when it comes to fat loss, not really a huge amount of changes apart from quantities for me. So anyway, being organized and having like a base meal plan is going to save you so much time, so much energy. Okay. And here's the thing. People are like, oh, I don't want to eat that forever. Yeah, but it's not forever, is it? Because we're doing fat loss in a time frame where we're guaranteed to get results because we're doing these things. And I said this to one of my clients today. I said, the problem that we've got is we live in a world where we feel like we need every recipe that we eat to be super fancy and super jazzy, but it's not. Like, that's not real life. And that is such a problem when it comes to people wanting to lose fat or change body shape or just look after themselves, is that so much of their brain space, which we have very little of anyway, because we've got so many other things to think about, is then focused on, oh, but I want to try this recipe and then I want to try this recipe, but I need to go to the shop to get this and I need to plan that. And it's just fucking overwhelming. Whereas when you're in fat loss, the biggest thing you want to be doing is being simple and being consistent. Like, that is what's going to move you forward at a rapid pace. And when you achieve your fat loss and you give yourself more calories and you reverse diet out, that's when you can start to play with your food a little bit more, have a little bit more variety. But the aim with fat loss is get in, get it done, and get out. And this is like part of like my mission. What I do with Empowered is like, I want to take women that have been dieting for years and maybe even decades and be like, oh no. Even if your goal is like 3-4 stone, give me a year and let's change it. Okay. But for those of us who are just like 1-2 stone overweight, like, let's get in and get out within 2 or 3 phases, and then you don't have to do that again. It is honestly wild when I speak to people and they're like, I've been trying to lose a stone for like 5-6 years. Oh, it's draining for you. Like, draining. And like, so part of my mission is to be like, you do not need to do that. And that's why I'm going to document this journey to show you, like, look, this is what you can achieve when you get in and get out of fat loss. Okay, so like I said, being organized. So being organized with your food. So for me, I will eat the same breakfast. I will eat the same lunch. I will have like an after dinner snack that I have because I have my dinner quite early, which will be yogurt, fruit, and like a Snacker Jack or something like that. So I'm having that protein hit before I go to bed because I actually train on an empty stomach in the morning. Nothing to do with fat loss, purely to do with time. Yep. So I just like to have something to eat before I go to bed, so I'll wake up and I'm not absolutely starving. So yeah, being organized with your social occasions, being organized with your food, being organized with your appointments at the gym. And this is honestly a massive thing that I would recommend. Stop seeing the gym as a maybe. Okay. It is so important that we are keeping up our training when we're in fat loss. Okay. Yes, fat loss is a calorie deficit, but we want to maintain as much lean muscle as we can. So when we drop the fat, we have a nice shape underneath. Okay. Not to mention how freaking important resistance training is for our health as women. Okay. Your training doesn't drop out. Your training wants to be sustained. So you need to lock in them gym workouts like you would your Botox appointment. Okay. Would you cancel your Botox appointment? No, because you'd probably lose 50 quid and then you'd be horrified that you have to walk around with your wrinkly head for the next 3 weeks till you get a next appointment. Okay. So you wouldn't do it, would you? why do we cancel gym sessions on ourselves? See it as important as your Botox, as your hair, as your nails, because it fucking is. Okay, so locking in your gym sessions, and this is what I do. I get my Google Calendar up and I will put in my gym is here, my cardio day is here, it is in my diary. Now I'm quite, what did I say, lucky? I don't know, you can be the decision maker on that. I train early in the morning. So I don't, part of the reason is that if I train after work, sometimes that might be affected by childcare, by someone ringing me up and say, do you want to do this? Or, by the way, no one ever rings me up and says, do you want to do this? That was a terrible example. Because half the time it's no. But yeah, so it's not affected by things like that because I train earlier in the morning. So that time slot is my time slot. I'm also like, I have this thing, and again, this is advice I give to my clients, is that don't give yourself the luxury to move your gym. Like, if you don't go to the gym because you're too tired or X, Y, and Z, you've missed that opportunity to go. You don't move it to later in the day. For me, this might not help you, but it helps me because I'm not giving myself the luxury of moving my gym. It sort of makes me go because I'm like, even if I could move it to time, I'm like, no, I don't do that. This is my opportunity to go, or I miss this opportunity. And I put like this little bit of extra like pressure on myself to be like, this is your one opportunity to go. If you miss this, you're not going for another 2 days. So locking in your gym, like I said, do mine on Google Calendar, locking in your cardio, and fix them appointments over your time frame, and just be like, this is my priority now. Okay, next one then is just setting boundaries with yourself. I'll just touch on this, as I've said, in case people ring you up and ask you to do things, not like they do me. But it is setting boundaries, and it comes down to, like I just said, prioritizing the goal. Is that if you're in a fat loss phase and it is your ultimate goal to make a difference while you're doing it, it does have to be as a priority. So you can't say yes to everything, to every brunch, to every glass of wine, to every coffee and cake date. You're going to have some boundaries where you go, yes, I'll go, but I'll have a black coffee. Or yes, I will come out for the night, but I will meet you after food and I'm not going to drink. Like, I think now we're all a bit on the same wavelength because I've done so many podcasts about like alcohol and socializing. I think a lot of people are on the wavelength that, well, maybe a lot. I don't know. I wonder what the percentage is. But like, I think we're getting to a point where we're pretty okay with going to things and not drinking, or going to things and having 2 drinks. I know my clients are because we chat about it. But yeah, that was probably something I wouldn't say struggled with pre-kids, probably struggled with more, but I still set the boundaries with myself to not go to things. I would go to things and not drink, but I probably struggled with it more pre-being a mum because I felt like the pressure was a little bit more, but I still did it. So if you're not a mum and you are listening thinking, I couldn't do that, yes, you fucking can. Yes, you can. But yeah, you are going to have to, it goes into like I said, being organised. In the 10 weeks that I'm going to diet now, there are going to be 2 occasions where I am going to choose on them days to maybe go over my calories. Maybe. I haven't decided a full thing yet, but maybe 2 in 10 weeks. Okay? And that's because I want results in 10 weeks. So, like I said, with setting your boundaries, you can't be going and eating out every single week or drinking every single weekend. Do you know what I mean? There are going to have to be things that set your boundaries, but that is so not a negative, because once you set boundaries and stick to them, it absolutely gives you this self-empowerment of like giving back to yourself and like just being like, I can actually do that. I can say no. Saying no is so enriching of what is the word that I'm thinking of? What's that word? Look at me looking at the computer like someone's going to just answer me. But that word of just, oh, what is the word now? The ice cream van's going off, I can't think. Anyway, it's so like self-enriching, like self-empowerment that, you can say no to things and you can do that for yourself, because you're not just saying no and being like miserable and boring. You're saying no because you're saying yes to yourself, to your goals. Oh, that's really going to bug me what that word's called. Anyway, so yeah, setting boundaries comes into like being organized as well, and just knowing that you are going to have to do that over the next 10 weeks. All right, next one we're going to talk about then is our our going to bedtime and our morning rise time. Okay, this makes a huge effing difference to your fat loss results. Okay, because when we are asleep, this is when your body does its repair and its recovery and its reset, including your hormones. And under that hormone subheading is your hunger hormones. Okay, is that we know with lack of sleep comes lack of energy because we haven't fully recovered from the day before. And when we're lacking in energy, your body is then like, well, we haven't got this sleep recovery that we got, so now we're going to need to get energy from somewhere else. Where do we get energy from? Food. Okay, but it's not going to tell you to eat a salad, is it? It's going to tell you to go for the high carb food, the high energy food, the food that tastes yummy. So we go, yum, 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 let me eat more of it, okay? And this is down to your hormonal response of your hunger hormone increasing. So swinging it back, if you go to bed earlier, okay, and you give yourself that opportunity to have them 7 to 9 hours sleep, and then you get up and everything is restored and as it should be, and your hunger hormones are balanced because they've had that recovery time, you're in such a better place to reduce the craving aspect of things. Also, when you are in fat loss, you are going to have the most energy in the morning, the most motivation, the most willpower in the morning, okay? So if you go to bed earlier and you can get up earlier, watch things can happen in the morning. You are going to get more shit done. And that might be an early morning workout, prepping your food, going to get a big chunk of your steps in. It is a no-brainer. And this is something I have implemented and I am really going to try and stick to. I haven't done it for that long, so I'm not going to be like I'm sick at it because I'm not yet. But I'm trying to go to bed at 9 and getting up at 5. I mean, not even trying. I am. I have been going to bed between 8:30. I went the other night. 8:30, the baby woke up at 4:45, but that was okay because I was like, haha, I went to bed early, so I've got my sleep in. So between 8:30 and 9 is when I really want to go to sleep, so I can get up at 5 and I can get steps in. I can make sure my food's done for the day. I can get to the gym earlier. I can just be organized for the day. Why my energy is high and why my willpower and self-discipline is higher as well. And that's why bed time and rise time is important in fat loss. I spoke about meals. Oh, that's it on my notes. Okay. Let me just think of anything else while I'm on the spot. And also, I'm aware this is 30 minutes. I don't really like talking longer than 30 minutes. I think it's so boring to listen to my voice. So, we have got the best things that I am doing that can help you in your fat loss is establishing your why, establishing your time frame, being organized, setting boundaries, locking in your gym times, going to bed, getting up nice and early, meals, getting planned with your food, be consistent, keep it simple. Keep it simple. This is not forever. Okay, and that's actually, I will sign off because that is the last thing that I've touched. Maybe I'll do a part 2 if I think of other things. Fat loss is not forever. The results are, the phase isn't. Okay, and that's why if you're listening to this thinking that seems like a lot, it is a lot, but it's for a short amount of time to reap the rewards that I will then keep long term. And I will talk about reverse dieting podcasts later on when I'm there so I can make it really applicable. But hopefully these hacks have helped. I'm sure along the way I will pick up a few more and give you a few more. But yeah, if we're starting out, and these are the things that I definitely would implement, and these are things that I am implementing as well. Okay, I love you and leave you because yeah, I'm drained of my own voice. And I will see you next week with a new episode and maybe a little update. But if you're not following me on Insta, please go and follow me on Insta @_em.powered. And I will be doing an update of how my journey is going there. Okay, guys, have a great day. Wish me luck on my fat loss phase. Love you. Bye.